People always tell me, Josh, you don't look like you've been to prison.
You'd never make it in there.
I bet you got your... First off, I haven't always looked like Mandark and McLovin combined. That's my actual prison ID. That's what I looked like when I hopped off the prison Porsche. And I spent 10 hours getting processed at the beautiful and lovely Talladega Federal Correctional Institute. No vacancy. But also, as I've said many times, getting through jail or prison is not about what you look like. It's about what you do. So I'm here to tell you the secrets of how to survive in prison when you're innocent. Now, the reason I make a disclaimer about innocence is because if you're in prison for something that the inmates think is naughty, this won't help you. But if you find yourself in the ever-widening net of the so-called justice system for something petty or something you were innocent of, then this guide is for you. Step 1, you already know. As soon as you get there, walk up to the biggest guy in the room. Actually, it's quite the opposite. The real tip number 1 is stay humble. If you feel an internal tendency to be one of these guys that gets to jail and starts telling stories about how one time you got circled by black belts and whooped all their asses, don't! Yes, a guy claimed that in my county jail. People with low IQs cannot stand to think that someone else thinks that they're tougher than them. Did that make sense? Let's just use a real example. When I was in county jail, there was this middle-aged white guy, right? Let's call him Buddy. Kind of a portly guy. He was funny. I liked him, right? And there was about a 30-year-old black guy named Guy, okay? Charismatic, funny guy. I liked them too, man. They were both my friends, right? Well, for some reason one morning, they got into an argument over whether or not Michael Jackson was one of the biggest stars of the 1980s. It's what happens to humans nowadays when you take away their Google. I don't remember who took what stance on which side of the argument here, but I do remember the sound of their fists and the slapping and hollering less than 10 seconds after this argument started. And why? Because Buddy said to Guy, "I'll beat your ass." Bruh. You think Guy was gonna let him just walk away thinking he could whoop his ass? Now, before I move on, there's actually a happy ending to this one because Buddy really liked the little crappy jail cakes that taste like cornbread, and Guy didn't eat them because he was diabetic, and he did continue to give them to him every day. And no, it wasn't like a give him the cake. This was county jail. So they were still cool after they'd settled whether or not Michael Jackson was one of the biggest stars of the 80s, I guess. But the point remains. Don't brag about how tough you are. Don't tell everybody that you're a brown belt or a black belt and trained in martial arts. They're only going to get offended and want to try you. And if you do happen to win a fight with somebody that got all offended like that, they're probably going to go get their friends. It's not going to work out for you, man. Just don't do it. Just be humble, man. Instead of being arrogant, I highly suggest tip number 2. Stay funny. Now, part of the reason I didn't have very many problems in jail or prison is because I didn't take things too seriously, man. I would chat with anybody. I would joke around with anybody. I wasn't segregated to certain groups like other people might be. Now, if you wind up at a higher security level than I did, then you might not have a choice in that matter. And also understand that it's not easy to keep a light spirit when you're in the clique, in the hooskow, you know what I mean? It's not easy to stay positive in jail, especially when you first got locked up. But once you know that you're going to be in there for a little while, try to take it as lightly as you can. Make the best out of the situation because trust me, being the one guy that can make everybody in the pod chuckle when you're in this damn concrete hole can give you a lot of leniency. You're one of those dudes walking around with your eyes all squinted, your eyebrows raised up and all this, you know what I mean? Bad boys looking. It doesn't make you look tough. It makes you look like you're pretending to be tough. And that doesn't fly. Tip number 3, let's get real. Don't be afraid to get punched in the face. At some point, somewhere during your glorious journey of incarceration, somebody, somewhere, is going to try you. Somebody's going to try to rip you off. Somebody's going to try to call you a name they're not allowed to call you. Somebody's going to try to take something from you. They must test everyone. But here's the thing. These little tests aren't the kind of thing that's going to make somebody go grab their steel. The worst you're really going to get is a few punches in the face. I mean, if they're a straight savage and you really lose, they might kick you in the rib cage once or twice. 99% of the time, that won't kill you. But 99% of people who died today weren't subscribed to Josh Pillault. Could be a coincidence, could be a coincidence. I don't know, I need to weave a little bit of story time in there for you guys. So the first few months that I was in jail, I really didn't get in any fist fights. I kept it light. Jail's less serious than prison. You know the drill. But eventually, I was having repeated disagreements with an old middle-aged redneck asshole. And I usually use fake names, but hell, this redneck's name was Ronnie. Now, me and Ronnie have been bickering back and forth for a few days. I'm actually pretty sure this started over a game of Monopoly. But things snowball in there. You're trapped in a small room together. And me and old Ronnie weren't getting along too good. And one day, he called me the B word. Now, a buddy of mine named Andy had given me the rundown on the no-no word. So as soon as he said that, I did what I had to do, and I ran over there and I punched him in the mouth. Now, he went down, but to his credit, he had kind of flinched into it a little bit, right? So he grabbed me around the waist when he went down, and I took a step back, and he fell down and fractured his kneecap. And I didn't have to do anything else to him. I punched him one time, and he did that to himself. Don't fight with people 30 years younger than you. That should probably be a tip. He lived, I lived, Everybody knew, don't mess with Josh. They don't care if you win or lose. You just have to go when it's time to go, and they'll respect it. Tip number 4, get a hobby that isn't drugs or a gang. I can show you better than I can tell you. Look at this. Look at this. This is psychotic. The true results of being maidenless for years. I studied music theory and played instruments for hours a day. When I couldn't play instruments, I made charts and wrote lyrics. I've quoted it before, and in the autobiography of Malcolm X, he says, turn your cell into your school and your monastery. And I really took that to heart. Better yourself with your oodles of free time. Don't devolve into prison cliques and politics. I read tons of books. I wrote tons of songs. Find something that lets you stay in your lane. Last but not least, this is just kind of a bonus one. Don't spend too much time talking to the CEOs. Don't go in there yucking it up about the vacations you were taking in the free world or anything. You spend longer than the time it takes you to go in there and get a broom, they're going to think you're snitching. Now, you guys are going to be completely shocked by this revelation, but people in prison don't like tattletales. Who would have thought that? Now, the best thing to avoid all of this altogether is to just not get arrested. Look, I believe in you guys. You can do it. Don't pirate movies. Don't say ignorant stuff on RuneScape. Be excellent to each other, man. All right, but seriously, I really hope nobody ever needs anything that I said in this video. Look, you're missing out if you're not on my Twitch stream. I stream 5 days a week, and more or less. We got prison stories, we got RuneScape gameplay, we got life lessons, we got it all, man. So come hang out, everybody, and I will see you there. All right, wait. Before you go, let's talk about where I've been and where we're going with the channel. Those of you who hang out on the Twitch streams will know that my wife and I had to live with relatives for about 2 years after moving out of our apartment because nobody would give a felon a loan, and no place would let me rent because I'm a felon. I struggled to make content because there were always elements out of my control, and it was a very difficult environment. Although I love my family and we had a great time living with them, it was a very difficult place for me to try to make the quality of YouTube videos that I brought here. So I practiced my editing. I made some RuneScape videos, and I mean, come on, look at this. Is this not an insane step up on my channel? I've never done anything like this before. I've really learned how to edit. I did all of this myself. I really want to be able to deliver to you guys. But on another note, I'm getting ready to move past just talking about my prison stories. Now, nobody get too upset or anything because I don't plan on ending Tales from the Jungle. I think Tales from the Jungle is great, and when people ask me a prompt that is really good, like when somebody says, what's the grossest thing you ever saw in prison? I have a story that's good enough to make a video out of that, right? And I did. So I sort of lost inspiration, if you will, to keep talking about my case and my stories. And while I love Tales from the Jungle, and that's definitely not going anywhere, I also think that I've got more to offer YouTube. I've got a very wide range of interests, and now that I've learned how to edit, I mean, the world is my oyster. I absolutely love comedy, and comedy content is what brought me to YouTube in 2005 when I was watching Google Video instead. I really enjoyed the wacky comedy aspect of it, and as somebody who feels like React content is kind of tired, I must admit that I really like watching current things and roasting the people alive. Hell, I even thought of a bunch of jokes that I could have said while I was editing this video. Comedy and making people laugh and having a good time is a huge passion of mine. I'm also very interested in zooming the wheel out from my own case and exposing other instances of the FBI or the United States government being corrupt in flagrant and blatant ways, or even sometimes probably conspiratorial ways. I would absolutely love to cover things like that. I've got a few things in my notepad. It's been a long year for me, guys, and I've learned a lot, and we had another baby, my daughter Lydia, for those who don't know. It's been a lot, man, and I'm really ready to get back in the grind and take this seriously and deliver the content to you guys that I always knew that I could. I've learned how to edit. I've got my camera here. Hopefully this audio is better than the audio from the first part of the video. That was messed up, but I think that this microphone is going to be much better. I had to use every AI program that Adobe has to try and fix that first part of the audio. Is there a YouTube channel that roasts things and makes comedy-oriented content and also exposes the FBI? Stay tuned to find out. Thank you guys for continuing to support me. Thank you for coming by my Twitch streams. Thank you for staying subscribed to me when I didn't deliver content for over a year. It was time for me to modernize the channel a little bit, and so I brought it from 2012 up to 2016. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, guys, I'm much more open to suggestions than ever I have been before. Please, tell me what you guys would like to see. You're the subscribers, you dictate. I've got a ton of interest, guys, and now that I've learned how to edit, like I said, I can do just about anything. What do we want, guys? Do we want more Tales from the Jungle and a couple of FBI exposés? Should I finally branch into the ethereal realm and start talking about the NHIs and the things like that I'm also very interested in? Who knows? The world is our oyster. If you'll watch it, I'll make it. I love you guys, man. I hope to see you guys on the stream, and there will be another YouTube video soon. I really hope I did good on the Photoshop with this thumbnail. I got Photoshop now. I gotta learn how to use it. I mean this now more than ever. If you enjoyed this style of editing, especially from a guy who was kind of known as the YouTube time capsule, please leave a like. Please leave a comment below, and if you actually watched it all the way this far, drop an eggplant emoji. Oh yeah, we're getting spicy. Drop the eggplant emoji down there in the chat. I'll see you guys on Twitch.